One of the most common objections that we all hate is around commission. Could you lower the commission? I had another agent in here and they said their commission is lower. So why are they giving you that objection? They would like the service for cheaper. But then I'm going to rephrase my value by asking them a simple question. And I'm going to say, agents, welcome to the Get Keen podcast, your number one destination for learning how to get the most out of your real estate career. I'm Dan Lee, founder of Plum Property, one of Queensland's largest independent real estate offices, and Plum Partners, where we've helped dozens of agents create, run and grow their very own agencies. On Get Keen, I chat to high-performing agents, principals and agency owners, so you have the tools, strategies and insights to grow your business and live the best life for yourself and your family. Now let's get keen. Ladies and gents, we're keen. You're ready to learn about objections in the listing presentation. This is classic sales objection learning and mastery. There's two things you need to get really good at in real estate. One is finding opportunities, becoming really good at prospecting, building pipelines so that you get listing presentation opportunities. The second thing you need to be really, really good at and master is your listing presentation. Because if you're getting opportunities but you're missing them to other agents, then you've got work to do. Your scripts and dialogues and your ability to persuade that you are the best person for the job needs work. And how you do that, a part of that is in the listing presentation, we often come up against objections. Now, what is an objection? An objection is simply a reason that someone gives you for not moving forward now with your product or service that you're trying to sell. Now, let's not forget that in real estate, the real sell, right, is not selling the property for the owner. That is a sale. But the more important part of the selling process is the sell in the living room or over the phone to get the listing. You are actually selling yourself and your service to a client. So for them to move forward, they need to make a decision on your service and that you're the best person that they should go with to sell their property. You need to get really good at knowing your value, having structure around your presentation, and then part of this, which is what I want to emphasize and talk about today, is handling objections. So when we get to the point of actually asking for the business, and usually that might come at the end, near the end of a conversation, and that's where you will typically come across an objection. Okay, so an objection is simply someone saying, I don't want to move forward with you right now for a particular reason, which they will give you. So your ability to empathize with their objection, then restructure the conversation to then help them understand that it is a good idea to move forward with you now, is a skill that you need to master. So today we're going to go through 9 objections that are most common in a listing presentation. And I want you to listen to this, and for every objection, there may be multiple different ways you can handle an objection. There's not one right answer or one defining way to answer every single objection, and it may be different depending on the owner and the conversation that you've had prior. But what I'm going to do today is give you an answer for each of these common objections that you could often use when you're in this situation. Starting off with one of the most common objections that we all hate is around commission. Your fee's a little bit high. Quite often we'll be in a listing presentation, and when we have gone through everything and the owner might say something along the lines of, oh, look, could you lower the commission? Or I had another agent in here and they said their commission is lower. All right. So the first thing you want to do is empathize with the objection. So why are they giving you that objection? Because they want to get a better outcome for themselves, which is more money in their pocket. So they would like the service for cheaper. So you need to emphasize with that first. So if an owner said to me, hey, I like what you've said. I had another agent in and they said their commission was 2%, not 2.5. Would you be able to match that? The first thing I would do is empathize, as I said, with their situation. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I understand why you're asking that question, because at the end of the deal, you want to get the best result for yourself, and the best result for you is having more money in your pocket at the end of the transaction. So I've reasoned with why they're asking me that. But then I'm going to rephrase my value by asking them a simple question. And I'm going to say, after everything that we've spoken about today, the marketing that we do, the process that we use to create competition and to negotiate with the clients, with the buyer activity that we've got currently going on and the size of our team and the way that we do everything, do you feel that we're the best agent for the job? Or another way you could rephrase it is, if you had the choice out of me and the other agent today and we were both the same price, which one would you choose? Now, if they said, look, I'd still need to, have a think about it, then there's absolutely no point in giving any type of commission discount at that stage because they haven't even chosen you. You've actually got more work to do in convincing them about the value that you're going to bring to get them more money. If that was the answer, I would say, well, it looks like I haven't yet explained how I'm going to achieve you a better result than the other agents that have come through. Maybe we should go back to talking about some of those elements so I can try and persuade them more why I'm going to be the person that's going to get them the higher price. Because I can say to them, Mr. and Mrs. Bennett, at the end of the transaction, I know the difference between a good agent and a great agent, and the ability for them to create competition, make your property look better, talk to the buyers in a manner that's going to get them interested in your property, and appropriately step them through that buying process and negotiate the highest price from them and all the others that are interested in your property. I know that from my previous experience and the evidence that I can show you today on my sales, that I can achieve you $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 more than another agent that comes in the door and does the same job. So at the end of the day, saving $1,000 or $2,000 on your commission is not the way that you're going to get more money in your pocket at the end of the day. I want to know, are you happy to move ahead with me? Now, if they say, yeah, look, I'm happy to move ahead with you, if you were to match the other agent's commission, then I'm happy to go ahead with you. Well, then we found out that they actually see more value in us. So once you've found out that they actually want to go with you because they actually see a higher value in you, you're then able to say, look, one way I would close this is just going, hey, we're on the same team. I'm going to protect your sale price at all costs. I'm going to go out there in the marketplace and I'm going to firmly say why I believe your property is worth the price that we're asking, and I'm going to defend that. But at the same time, I need to defend my commission and my value if we're going to work together. And don't worry, I know at the end of the day, you're going to be really happy moving forward paying me the commission that I'm asking for the job that I'm going to end up doing for you. And, saying that with conviction, if you really nail your listing presentation, you're going to win the business more often than not, even with a higher commission. The second most common objection that we get as agents is, another agent said that we could get a higher price than that. An owner often feels comfortable going with whoever, says what they want to hear. All right. So the solution is to acknowledge their hope. Right? But not buy into the fact that we're not just going to say what they want to hear, because we want to start off this business relationship on the wrong foot. And we certainly don't want sellers going into a sales process with completely unrealistic expectations that we've led them to believe. Okay, so you have to acknowledge their hope. So you say something along the lines of, look, I totally understand that you want to get the best price for your home. But then ask them, maybe what did the other agent show them that gave them the belief about that price rather than just saying it? Because you can lead them towards the comparables that you've already shown them. So I would say, well, obviously today we've gone through some comparable sales in the area that are the most similar properties that we could find to your home in recent times. Were there comparable sales that the other agent showed you that could justify that higher price right now in the market? And let them answer that, because quite often they'll say something like, oh, the agent did show us some of the sales and they mentioned a few other sales and they definitely thought that we could get more. But there's actually no real evidence. And we want price to be based off evidence, not just off what people say. So important not to bag out the agent, really important. So don't say, well, that agent doesn't know what they're talking about, or that agent always says prices are high and then they don't achieve it, okay? I would say, look, at the end of the day, I don't really talk about price too much other than the price that we put on it. So whatever price we put on it, when people ask me, what is the price? I'm going to confidently say, the price is this. And we believe that we can get that. Would you like to make an offer on the property? The owner is interested in seeing all offers. Okay. So I'm still going to gather all offers that people are willing to make on your property, and I'm still going to make the assumption that they're going to make offers around whatever price you choose to put on it. But when we sit here today, I don't want to start this relationship off on just, pulling numbers out of the air about what we would like. Rather, base our decision on the knowledge that we have about what's going on in the market today, evidence in the market. If we do that, we're most likely actually going to achieve you a better price, because we'll price the property in a way that's going to make people really interested in buying it. And you're not going to have a situation where you may put a price way too high on it and then no one shows up to the open homes and no one inquires. That's the biggest tragedy that happens when owners overprice their home. And we don't want that to happen to you. Hey guys, just quickly, if you're loving this content and you're a real estate agent that's already thinking what it might be like to have your own real estate business and brand, then check out the show notes. There'll be a link to our Plum Partners website where you can leave an inquiry and me or one of my team members will reach out. We help agents to create, run, and grow their own real estate business and brand so they can earn more and set up a better future for themselves. So get keen, get in touch. Now let's get back to the episode. Another objection. So number 3 is, my daughter's friend is in real estate and we're going to sell with her. Now, this I think is actually quite an easy one to get over, because quite often they don't actually even want to sell with this person and they're only doing it because they don't want to disrupt the relationship that they've got with that person. So the first thing to do is to validate their emotional connection with that other party. So we want to go with my daughter's friend, okay? Oh, I totally understand that. Ask some questions about the daughter's friend. Who's the daughter's friend? Where do they sell? How long have they been in real estate? Quite often than not, this person will work totally out of area. They may not even be that experienced, but of course they want to sell with them because they don't want to hurt their daughter's or their daughter's friends, feelings. So validate. Hey, I totally get it. Selling with someone because, obviously they're in real estate. You do have some trust in them. You know them personally, but there may be an element of you selling with them because you don't want to affect the relationship with them. Like you might hurt their feelings, and I can totally understand that situation. But at the end of the day, what we really need to think about, the reason why you've got me here sitting with you, is because you do want to get the best result for your property. Am I right in saying that? You need to also think about the fact that quite often you can damage a relationship by selling with someone that you know. Right? Because quite often selling with someone they may not be as straight up with you about situations. They may hold back on information because they don't want to hurt your feelings, because they have an emotional connection with you. And if the sale doesn't end up going well, what's that going to be like for the relationship? And do you really want to go through that situation where it's not selling, you're not really happy with what they're doing? What's the relationship going to be after that? It's much better actually not getting to that point. So if you sell with me, I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can. We don't have a relationship together on a personal level. Our relationship is business. Although we get along together and you can trust me and I can trust you on a business level, I can sit here and tell you what I really think and not hold anything personally back. And you're never going to get in a situation with me. If I don't do a good job and you have to let me go, then there's no big deal, right? So that's one point. But more importantly, is your daughter's friend, she doesn't sell in the area, so she's going to have no buyer activity on the books ready to send to your property to build that competition, whereas we do. She's just going to rely on the advertising she's going to do. She doesn't know the market knowledge, so when buyers ask, oh, I saw that property sell for this or that, she's not really going to have the answers as to why those properties sold for those amounts, which that market knowledge is imperative in a negotiation. If your agent is going in with no market knowledge and the buyer has more knowledge than them on the area, then that buyer is in a better position than you are. Okay, when buyers talk to me, they can't beat me on market knowledge. I know about all the sales. I know why they sold for certain prices. I know who sold them and when they were sold and for what prices, and I can talk them through why your house is worth what we're asking for it. Okay, so that's the sort of language I would have around that objection. The fourth most common objection that you'll get in a listing presentation is someone just saying, we're not in a rush to sell. Again, you always ask more questions but empathize with them, okay? So I get it. You're not in a rush. But I would ask the question, does that mean that you would prefer to sell at the end of the year? Or would you prefer to sell now if the price was right? They'll often give you the answer. Oh, look, if the price was right, we'll sell now. So what they're doing when they say that, they actually want to sell now, but the reason they say we're not in a rush is they're actually protecting their price. They don't want to seem desperate, right? And many owners are fearful that you as the agent, you're going to grab hold of this listing and go out to the market and go, these people need to sell. And so they've got their guard up by saying we're not in a rush, right? But asking that question has clarified. If they said, yeah, we'd actually prefer to sell at the end of the year, then you might just say, hey, well, you want to sell at the end of the year. If you're not in a rush and you don't think it's the right time for you now, do you mind if I schedule another meeting for you in October? And I'll come back and we'll talk about it then. But quite often not when they say this, they actually want to sell now, but they don't want to sell for a low price, okay? So you can say, okay, so you'd prefer to sell now, but you just want to make sure that the price that you get is correct for you to move forward. Yes, okay, I understand what we need to do. We need to get you the right price. Maybe we can get them to tell us what price that is and then give them a confident idea about whether we can get that so that we can move forward. But it's also really important to let them know, hey, if we put the property on the market right now and I go out there, I work my database, I get the ads up online, I get all the buyers here, I run open homes, I call everyone back, I get you all of the offers in the marketplace, I create competition, and I will get you offers. I'm telling you, I will get you offers. And we get to the point where I've got all these offers, but they're not quite high enough to move forward. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to try again later down the track. But there's a really good chance that we will get the price you want. And the only person that's really going to lose if we don't get the price that you want now is me. Because I'm going to be the one spending hours and hours calling everyone back, working really hard to get you everything in the marketplace to get this property sold. And if you don't want to sell it, the only thing that you're maybe giving up is some time on the weekends to allow me in and keeping your house clean and tidy. So if you want to give it a go now, I think we can get you that price. And at least if not, you know you're in a better position to then try again later on in the year. Could we move forward on that idea? So I would always try and reclose the business after handling the objection, whatever the objection is. Objection 5 is, I think we'd like to speak to a few more agents before we make a decision. So they're still shopping around. They're not fully confident in committing to you just yet. I would empathize with that to say, yeah, I totally understand. You want to get a couple of different opinions, but then ask them some questions about the conversation we've had today and see if you can close it. It may be hard to close on this objection, but what you can do is a strategy to make sure that you can close the next time round. So if they said that to me, I'd say, that's totally understandable. You want to just get a couple of different opinions. Were you happy with everything I went through today about what your home is worth? If it's a yes, okay, were you happy about the advertising we spoke about? Were you happy with the commission and the fee? And if they're just saying, yeah, we're happy with that, dig a little deeper because they might just say it. I'd say, are you really happy with that? Are you really happy with that? Because they might say, the commission was a bit high. And you go, okay, all right, I can understand that. And you want to go and talk to some other agents to see whether or not my commission, I'm charging the correct commission for my service. I can tell you that the industry standard is this and I charge this, and give them a reason for why you charge. That's probably similar. You can go away and talk to a whole lot of agents, and what's then going to happen is you'll get more opinions. You'll have to invite more agents over. You'll get everyone's price, and you'll have multiple people to contact and follow up and let down. If you like what we've said today, you're comfortable with me, my profile, how long I've been in the game, my experience, you feel like I would work well with you and the buyers that we're going to take through and represent your property to. If we could come to a point that you were comfortable with the commission to work forward with me today, would you be happy to move forward? And if they said yes, perhaps there's a little negotiation you do to just get this over the line now and stop them from meeting those other agents. If they say, I'd still like to meet with the other agents too, but yeah, if you could tell me the best that you could do, I wouldn't tell them anything more. I'd say, no, look, that's totally understandable. Look, I think it's a good idea for you to meet with the other agents and get a feel for who you want to work with the most. What I'd like to do is just schedule a meeting after your last meeting with the other agents. When are you meeting those other agents? And they might say, it's tomorrow and the next day. Awesome. Can I just book in a Zoom meeting with you right now or another appointment to come over to see you for a final conversation on Friday afternoon or on Zoom at 5:30, confirm that next appointment, okay? What you're doing there is you're stopping another agent coming in and signing them up because they've already got another appointment with you, right? Then what I would say to them is, hey, I totally get it. At the end of the day, if you choose another agent over me, you've got to go with who you're most comfortable. But would you just at least do me the courtesy as and you can do this for the other agents, and just meet with me that last time before you make a decision on anyone? Just do me that courtesy and don't sign with the other agents until we've had that conversation, and get that confirmation from them. And they'll always say yes. They'll always say, yeah, we'll meet with you again and then we'll make our decision. Now, I've been burnt with that where it doesn't happen, but if you get them to commit to that second meeting and they say it to you, yeah, we'll meet you before we make a decision, it's very hard for them to then sign the paperwork with another agent before speaking with you again. And if you get to speak to them again, you've got a really good chance of closing the business. Okay, so that's how I would handle objection number 5. Okay, objection number 6 is, I think we'd prefer to try selling off market first. Now, there's a lot of off markets happening at the moment. And, I think some agents fall into the trap of selling to their owners that it's better to sell off market when it really isn't. There's nothing you can say to convince me that selling off market is definitely the way to get the most money for that owner, for their property, if not everyone in the market has had a chance to see it and there's no competition built off the back of it. However, sometimes an owner will prefer to sell it off market if their main concern is privacy or speed, and you just happen to have a buyer right now that's going to pay a price that they're willing to take and they want it done tomorrow. Now, so those could be reasons for selling it off market for the owner, but you want to make sure that you've handled their intention properly. So if someone says, we'd like to sell it off market first, I would ask them, hey, what's your preference when selling? Would you prefer the highest price to be private, that no one sees your home that you don't want to, or you want it just sold really quickly? Majority of the time, they're going to say, I want the highest price. And if they want the highest price, then it's not the best option for them to sell off market. And so we need to help them understand that. Okay, so I would say, all right, so you want to get the highest price for the property. Now, we can go and sell it off market. I can tell you today that I definitely have buyers that want to come through this property. I can have inspections on your property happening in the next couple of days. And even using my database, I'll be able to rustle up enough for a really good open home. And I will probably get you offers from that. I may even get an offer that is good enough for you to say, I'm going to move forward, I'm going to take that offer, and we sell the property. However, can I honestly sit here and tell you that by using only my database that I've got currently, that I've definitely given everyone the opportunity who might buy your home that opportunity? I can't say that, okay? If I don't utilize all the marketing options, particularly online portals like realestate.com, domain.com, get it out to my database as well, but also do social media and campaigns in different areas to get more exposure and give absolutely everyone in the market the chance to come and visit your home and the opportunity to make an offer. That is the only way that I could sit here and honestly say that I got the best price for you. And I can honestly say also that every time that I get a price that absolutely blows my mind, there's always competition involved. There always is. Because when someone feels like they're going to miss out on a property because someone else is about to buy it under them, they'll always come out with their very, very, very best that they will pay for it. And quite often, it's a price more than what they originally thought they would offer, because they think they're going to miss out to someone else. And whether it's ego, whether it's the time in the market and they just don't want to go back to looking again and they've sold themselves on this property for days thinking they're going to get it. When there's competition, I can definitely get you more. So we can try off market if you like, but I don't think you'll be saving enough money on the advertising to actually make more at the end compared to the price I'm going to get you with the competition. So that's a really good answer to people that want to sell off market, and we want to get them on market. By on market, we mean marketing it on the real estate portals and getting it out there to everyone who should be looking at it. We want to do that because A, we want to do the right thing by the client and get them the best price. That's our job as agents. Service the buyers yet, but we've got to get them the best price. And number two, we also want that for our own exposure and our own profile. If you sell something off market, you don't get to meet a whole nother list of buyers. You don't get the promotion of your advertising out there. There's so much missed opportunity that you just have to let go if you sell something off market. And the only thing that you really gain from selling off market is the return on investment for the time. You might get it done really quick. One quick inspection, sold it, commission, paid, and it's a quick transaction, but the chance of you getting another listing off it is much lower. So always remember that. Objection 7. We don't want that extra advertising for sale signs, signboards, none of that. I hear that all the time because people are trying to save money and they don't see the value in having signboards and brochures and things like that. So my solution to that is definitely, again, emphasize with what they're trying to do. I understand you don't want to do the extra advertising here. It's a little bit of extra upfront cost for that, and you may not see the value in doing that. Am I correct? And they say, oh yeah, the property will just sell itself. We bought a house and it didn't have a signboard and that kind of thing. And I would say things like this around the extra advertising. Look, I totally get it. We can do it that way where we just put it on the internet and we don't have the nice brochures or we don't have the signboard out the front. But we have to think again, at the end of the day, I want to get you the best price for this property. Now, although a signboard won't attract like dozens of different buyers, you'd actually be surprised at how many people still call us off signboards today. It's more than you think. It's not heaps. It's not going to get us more buyers than the realestate.com ad, but I would say a couple of times a week, I get a call from someone standing outside the front of a signboard and they're asking me questions about, hey, this one you've got on this street, I'm looking at the signboard, when's it open, I'm pretty interested, and that kind of thing. I would hate to miss out on even one buyer that possibly drives past your house and misses out on that opportunity because we didn't have the signboard. That one buyer could be one offer that gets us 50 grand more. Right? For a $150 signboard, I think it's well worth it. The other reason a signboard is so important is because it makes you look like you want to sell. When buyers rock up to a property that doesn't have a signboard, it's a little red flag. It sort of says this person is not actually committed to selling. And buyers don't want to deal with people that aren't selling. So if they come in, you don't have a signboard, you don't even have nice brochures prepared, they're probably going to think, number one, I'm a really bad agent and I don't want to have that, perception when representing your home. And number two, the owner, isn't serious about selling. And we don't want people to think that you don't want to sell, because buyers will be way more keen on making offers to someone who is serious about selling. And the last reason why you need a signboard is the emotional connection that I can make with the buyer. When I find someone that's really interested, I can say things like, hey, I can't wait to take that photo with you next to the sold signboard next week when it's yours. Now, that emotional connection and getting them to picture themselves buying your home and having that photo with their family outside the front, that's really special. And we should be delivering that to the buyer and making this an experience for them. So why don't we move forward on that signboard and brochures? I'm telling you, it's well worth it. Objection number 8 is also a common one. It's when you get a property that's outside your area. You don't actually sell a lot of properties in our area. We were thinking of talking to the other agent that sells way more. Empathize with their situation. I totally get it. That may worry you a little bit that I haven't sold as many properties as another agent in this area, and you may think that that's going to affect your sale result. But let me show you some reasons why I actually think it benefits you. Number one, I am really keen to get more of a profile in this area. And so it's so important for me to do the best job I possibly can at selling your house. Because if I'm going to get more sales opportunities in this area, I need you to be going out there and speaking to your neighbors and telling the people around the street that I did such a good job for you. So I'm going to put my heart and soul into making this my number one priority. And number two, it's actually kind of good that I don't have a lot of sales to properties to sell in this area. I've only got yours. So anyone I talk to, I'm just trying to sell your property. I'm selling them why they should buy this. Yours is the best on the market in this area and why, and I give them all my reasons. Whereas another agent that may have 5 or 6 properties on the market in your area, what they tend to do is just show buyers your house and go, do you like that one or do you want to see something else? And then the buyers go, what else you got? Yeah, let's have a look at those ones. And they're just putting your property in a big collection of others, and they're not solely focused on selling yours. Yeah, they're just waiting for someone to come along and pick yours, okay? I'm not waiting for someone to come along and pick yours. I'm out there and I'm making sure that I try and get an offer from everyone in your house because yours is the only one I'm selling. And I think in this sales process, that's going to help you more than the agent that has a few extra listings in the area. All right, so those are all the objections. That was only 8, actually. I said that there was going to be 9 common objections, but I lied. All right, because I love a little white lie in my podcast. So there's actually only 8. But if you want a 9th, I tell you what you can do is you can send me one. Why don't you comment on my Instagram if you see the clips there, or you could write a comment on this podcast. What's another objection that you'd love to hear me answer? I'll mention your name and I'll do a clip about it, and hopefully you'll see it and you'll be stoked and you'll get keen and you'll learn something. Thanks for listening, you absolute bloody legend. Give me a like, a comment, a follow, whatever that, all that stuff. I got to pay for all this stuff to do this podcast. The littlest you could do is give me a little like or a comment or something if you're an absolute bloody legend. Of course you are. Thanks, mate. Love you to bits. See you on the next episode of Get Keen. Thank you for tuning into the Get Keen podcast. If today's episode inspired you, please show your support with a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And make sure you subscribe on your favorite platform too. Don't stop there. Join our community of forward thinkers by connecting with me on social media at Dan_Lee_Plum. I'm looking forward to exploring more strategies and insights with you on your journey to the top. Until next time, keep getting keen.